Good evening. I'm Kraiguar Smith, and I'm coming to you live from Los Angeles, California, October 21st, 2009. This is the Original Warrior Show. Last time we were together, we spoke of the family tree. The family tree that I had been working on, the martial art tree of family and friends. And it was an answer to Edmund Kealoha Parker Sr.'s family tree of black belts, first, second generation. This chart, which is very historic, it's really truly amazing. You have some of the great men and women of Ed Parker's Kenpo family tree of black belts. Kenpo karate, meaning law of the fist, empty hand. Of course, a lot of names weren't placed on the family tree because sometimes it's very difficult to gather all information. You have to do your research and get it right the first time. If you don't, you have to do a second version. But let's just deal with one branch of the family tree. Let's deal with Steve Muhammad. At that time, he was called Steve Sanders. And he is a Kenpo IKKA, which is International Kenpo Karate Association, founded by Edmund Parker. And he was named on here as a first generation. And his branch here is Chuck Sullivan as well. And he also studied jointly under Chuck Sullivan, and he has a branch here. When you go down the list here, you have names that are placed on here, and you have all men. But there was one woman who received her black belt before this family tree, this chart was created. And her name is Glenda Ingram. Glenda Banks, at the time, of course, married Ron Ingrams, who was a black belt himself, and she is senior master at this time, and also producer and editor of Astute Videos and the Original Warrior program. So there are some other names that should be on here, and I just wanted, for the record, say that Glenda Banks Ingrams should be on this family tree. And if you believe that you should be on here too, give me a call and I'll make it plain and tell why you should be on there as well. So let's deal with the reality as well about Steve Muhammad, who was one of the great ones. Look at this picture here. We're talking about 1967, 66. As you can see, the Kenpo patch that he was wearing at the time. The IKKA emblem. And remember, one of our programs we did a lecture on emblems, and we spoke of the IKKA emblem, or the Kenpo patch as it is called. Steve Sanders at the time, perfect side kick or heel kick placed right there on the chin of David Krieger. This fight was held in Hawaii, Honolulu, Hawaii. And of course, most of you know, if you're Kenpo, part of the Kenpo family, that Mr. Parker was originally from Hawaii before coming over to the continental United States, settling down in Salt Lake City, Utah. But it all began for him in Hawaii, and he would always go back. So this was a tournament that was held in Hawaii, and Steve Muhammad was the premier fighter for the Kenpo organization directly under Mr. Parker, and he traveled all over with Mr. Parker fighting under the banner of the Kenpo patch and that organization at the time, making the Kenpo system the fighting art. It is recognized as being a legitimate get down, beat down, defending, elbows flying, scoop kicks, shovel kicks, all of that stuff in a realistic manner by this man, Steve Muhammad, Sijo Steve Muhammad. And I, being one of his students, his senior students, one of his first students, I am honored to be on his family tree, or under his branch, which is under the branch of Mr. Parker. And again, Glenda Ingram's is as well under this man. And I can go on and tell you some of the great men and women who are a product of Sijo. But that is for our next program. So I would like to thank you for tuning in, but I'd like to leave you with something. Because at times we believe that, we have all this talent and these gifts that, we think that we got it on our own. We are so arrogant and not humble, and we have to remember that we didn't get this, all of a sudden. We woke up and we decided to give it to ourselves. Give this rank, this gift, this talent, musically, or, we can act, or we can do whatever, we can play. It didn't come like that. Let's just go back. I'm going to read you something from the Gospel of St. John, from St. John. And it's chapter 1, verse 4. Well, let's say it's verse 3. All things were made by him, and without him was not anything made that was made. Everything came from God. You didn't create yourself. You were born of a woman. So make sure you thank Mom for all that she has done, your first teacher. And until our next program, I am Kraiguar. Peace and blessings.